Good morning and welcome to W Talk. My name is KG. Joining us in the studio today is someone who is very famous on the airwaves. I don't even have to introduce her because she can do so herself. And right now, let's get the mics really aligned with her first. Right. Okay. We're having some bit of technical issue right now, but you know what? I'll continue talking. The person in studio today is someone who is very, very famous, especially in RTM. We all know her. We know her voice, and we have been hearing her for a very, very long time now. And right now, let's hear from her. Hello.
Salam Malaysia Madani. I'm Karmila Badri on W Talk.
Hello, Karmila. Oh, what a beautiful voice. Absolutely love hearing your news. And I've been hearing it for years, even before I was here.
Oh, thank you.
And Karmila, you've done a lot. And today, that's what we're going to be talking about on W Talk. Now we start off with, can you share with us about yourself and what is it that you do?
Okay, so first of all, thank you TRAXXfm for having me on here again. And it's really an honor to be here with all our colleagues that we hardly ever see. We always speak to each other on air, but we hardly get the chance to be face-to-face with each other.
Yeah, we have to ask management to bring the buildings closer together.
Yeah, so I'm a senior news editor at RTM's radio news section for the English news. Basically, I'm an editor and also sometimes I present the news. When people like Peter Carlos, Nabirin and Aida are not available, then I'll have to come in and substitute for them.
We just say like the chutti lah.
I'm trying to be diplomatic.
Nabirin, don't take chutti. Kamila has to do your work after that. Right. So you have been a senior news editor, but before that you were a presenter as well. Which did you enjoy the most?
Actually, I started out as editor, and news reading was only quite a recent thing, only just recent, maybe 6-7 years ago. And but before that, I was primarily, I was a reporter and a news editor.
All right. So you were a reporter. Which of this did you like the best?
Well, I have to say editing, because that's my primary job right now, and. But the difference with being a reporter and being an editor is, the editor you're in the office more. You know, you're just
behind the desk.
Yeah, behind the desk, behind the scenes. Whereas when I was the reporter, I would go out, cover different events and things like that. But now it's just in the office, behind the scenes.
Okay, and we have to admit, being a reporter is quite tiring.
It was tiring, especially when you have to go out on location and be there for hours, sometimes days and weeks and months. It took a toll, but it was very exciting.
Yes, it is true, because I don't think a lot of people understand that reporters are usually the first in and the last out.
Yes, exactly.
Because we have to be, say for instance, something like happening at the Royal Palace.
Yeah,
we are earlier than anyone. We are already parked there by 4:35. We are there, and then we leave after everything's done.
Yes.
So reporting is not a very easy job.
And you're on all the time. You can't say that 5 o'clock I'm done. No, once the event finishes, then you're done.
Yeah, you don't make plans for that.
No, you don't. Even let's say if the event is a week-long event, don't make any plans for the week.
Yep, because you don't know what time you're going back. You don't know what time you're going to work.
No, you don't.
Yeah, but what a journey it was for you, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It's been a very exciting and exhilarating journey, and I hope my journey doesn't stop here. Many more years to come.
Of course, and of course, you're a senior news editor here. Someone that we look forward to bring young Sahe.
Yes,
absolutely.
Hanya di RTM.
Hanya di RTM. And what does a typical day look like for a radio news editor, Karmila?
Okay, so we work in shifts. There's 4 shifts a day. First shift starts at 5 a.m. and the last shift ends at 11 p.m. So we are overlapping. There's like 4 of us overlapping every day. And so you come in, depending on what shift you're doing, you come in. So typically you check what is the planning of the day, what events are there coming up for the day, which events RTM reporters will be going to cover. And also in the news wires, you see every day they will release a coverage schedule, so you can check. So in that sense, you have an idea of what to expect for the day. And you can sort of start planning out your bulletin. And then after that, you log on onto the system, and then you check the previous bulletins that the previous editor did, so that you don't repeat.
You don't overlap lah.
Yeah, you don't overlap. You don't repeat the same things, because we want to provide the latest news to our listeners. So that's very important, very important, and that's a message that I always impart on all new editors who come in. Like, it's very important to take those few minutes to go through previous bulletins and see what the previous editor did, so that you can deliver fresh and up to the minute news for our listeners.
Absolutely. And let's talk about your motivation to actually start a career in radio journalism. What was your motivation for that?
Well, actually, it wasn't in my plans. I started in RTM. Oh my God, I'll be giving away my age. I started in RTM about 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, it started as a part-time job while I was waiting for my results at university. I actually was planning on going a totally different path, because I studied law.
Oh.
Yeah, I studied law, and actually I think I went one of my junior colleges. I was in a junior college with one of your producers here today, Juliana.
Oh, you were?
Yes, many years ago.
I can't believe you actually went to university at 6.
Yeah, we were geniuses.
You were geniuses,
Yes. And so I did law. And, because during my schooling days, during primary school, secondary school, I was very active in public speaking. I did debating, all that kind of thing. So I thought, I think I would like to be a lawyer, because I thought, you see television shows, I want to be like that person. And my family encouraged me as well. So I went down that path. I did my degree in law. And while I was waiting for my results, my sister told me there was an opening at RTM news section for part-timers. So I came in, went for an interview, and, they trained me, and I started going for reporting. In those days, when you first started to come in, you had to do a mandatory 3-month stint with reporting, so that you get an idea of what is news, how do you collect news, and so that when you become an editor, you have that background to prepare a good news bulletin. And I discovered that I was quite good at it, and I enjoyed it. And so what started as a part-time job has now become my career 20 years later.
That is so wonderful and amazing to hear, because like you actually wanted to go for law.
Yes.
But then now you are a radio news editor.
Yes.
And it's
completely
interesting.
Different.
Like I think I went down the same path as well, except I studied for network engineering, understood that my passion wasn't there. I actually had the same kind of upbringing during school as well. Public speaking, a lot of debating and all that. Realized that I could do a lot of good with my mouth, like a lot of bad also. But it's interesting to see that, I think rather than what we studied for, I think it's the love.
Yes, the passion.
Yeah.
The passion for me, it was the passion for news.
For me, the passion was just talking.
I never expected I would have a passion for news, because you think news is a dry and boring, serious subject. But when you look behind it, how do you mine that news? How do you get that news? That's the interesting part.
The camaraderie, especially working with a bunch of people that you see in and out.
Yes, and I'm proud to say that I've established a lot of lifelong friendships since I've been here, and it truly is like a family here at RTM.
It is true. I absolutely love, whenever we work here, right? Like we only heard voices before, but we know it's the person. The moment you hear their voice in person, you're like, "Oh, Karmila." So it's so interesting. And you know what? We're going to continue talking about this, but we're going to be taking a short break, because I think you put two people who speak for a living on radio, we'll just continue speaking for the rest of the day.
Okay.
All right, we're going to take a short break. We're going to be back. We're going to be playing you this song. This is Lenny Kravitz's American Woman. Right after this, we come back with Karmila Badri, the editor of the English radio news section. I should say senior editor. And once we come back, we'll talk about memorable stories, adapting stories, and also one question I've had burning behind the back of my mind for the longest time. How do you maintain the 3-minute and the 10-minute time frame? That one I really want to know. Okay, right now let's get the music going. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. welcome back. Today we are talking to our guest, not from far away, but she's literally a couple of buildings away. Karmila Badri is joining us in studio today. Usually we join her over the microphone, but today she's right in front of us, and she's a senior editor with the English Radio News section. Today we are talking about journey to success. Karmila, what's the most memorable story that you've worked on in your career?
Gosh, there's a long list. I've covered all kinds of things from, political party conventions, elections.
Oh, those are always fun. Elections.
Especially, when we had the political tsunami, all those kind of things. We were there.
Because as radio editors at that time, we were confused as well,
Yes,
because it was a thing that's never happened in our country before.
Never happened.
How do we cover this?
Yeah, it was interesting, and how we pivot, because we serve the government of the day, so we have to be professional and pivot. So that was very interesting, very, very interesting. I'm glad I got to experience that in my lifetime. Also, I covered one particular thing that stuck with me over the years was I covered a very sensational murder trial. I wouldn't mention any names, but it was very chilling. I had to go to the
Location?
the crime scene.
Ooh.
It was very, very chilling. And then to be in the courtroom from morning until the whole day for like months on end, reporting all these facts. And it was that kind of made me realize I'm not a crime person. I'm not a crime reporter. But I like murder mysteries, reading them, watching them on TV or whatever. But to be there and actually report that thing is not. It's too heavy for me. And also another memorable event that I got to experience was when former U.S. President Barack Obama came to Malaysia. This is about almost 10 years ago. He came. I think that was his second visit here. He came for there was an ASEAN conference thing going on.
Yes.
So he was here, and that was a very interesting experience, because he's this very charismatic person, right? And the first African American president in the United States ever. And it was very interesting because his charisma, even though you're not face to face like how we are here right now, but just to be in the same vicinity, you can feel that charisma that he brings with him, and to hear him speak, because he's a very inspirational speaker.
He's the orator.
Yes, very, so it was, I really enjoyed that. I'm really thankful that RTM gave me the opportunity to experience that.
I remember the time when he came. I was actually stuck in a jam because of his motorcade.
His motorcade.
He was coming in from Subang Airport and he was heading to the
yes.
city center, and
Yeah.
I was stuck, and I was like wondering what is going on. The guy is coming the other way. Why are we stuck on the left lane, right?
Yeah.
But when the motorcade passed, then I was actually, wow, this
You
is
saw the beast.
yes, that was
that's
so
what they call
amazing.
His vehicle. Right?
Yeah, the beast.
Yeah.
And such an interesting time. But of course, I do agree with you. His charisma was through the
Yes,
roof.
Yeah. So I'm really glad I had the opportunity to experience that.
All right, now moving on to your editor's job. How do you adapt stories to a radio format? You make it suited effectively.
Well, because we have to suit because like you said, we have 3-minute bulletins and 10-minute bulletins, and we have to fit everything in that time frame and cater everything, because each reader has a different duration.
True.
So you have to cater to their duration, and you have to make sure that you fit everything. So in order to do that, your news items, you have to be very comprehensive. It has to be brief, but you have to fit everything in there so that listeners are able to understand easily. Because sometimes when people are listening to the radio, they're often doing other things. They might be driving, they might be doing the laundry, and they have to multitask. So to catch their attention, we have to get the facts to them in the briefest but most comprehensive and concise way. So, it takes talent to do that, but that is something you acquire with experience.
I want to ask a question, but I don't know whether the newsreaders will be too happy about it. Who's your favorite?
Oh dear,
Uh,
they're all my favorite readers.
Okay, let's end with that diplomatic way of answering. Yeah, we'll talk about it behind the
off
scenes.
air, off air.
Off air. All right, but yeah, this is a question. Like as I said before, like this is not in the script at all. But how do you manage to make sure, because the SIG tunes are set for that time frame, right?
Yes.
For our listeners, the SIG tunes is the background music that you hear when the newsreaders come on. How do you make sure it fit, especially considering that every newsreader has their own tempo and all that? How do you make it fit?
Well, I guess you could say mathematics and calculations,
Okay.
because you have to, because each story, you try to make it 25, 30 seconds, and then, you have to craft it, and you have to do like, basic addition to make sure, okay, this is enough, I have to take 3 seconds of the story to make it into a 2-minute, 40-second bulletin. So you have to do that kind of addition and subtraction. So when they say when editorial work you don't require mathematics, but actually you do.
Yeah.
So that's how we play around with the numbers and the timing.
Okay. So for our newsreaders who like to vary their tempo, it's a bit tough, lah.
Oh yes, it is a bit tough because when you have a set. For example, let's say Peter Carlos, he reads, his duration is 8:35. That's the normal duration. That's a regular bulletin with word stories and stories with sound bites. It all comes up to about 8:35. But then you throw in numbers. Like now we have the flooding and we have all the numbers, evacuees, and you have to read out all those numbers. That takes an effect on the total duration. So they read less. So then you have, like I said, you have to do some simple mathematics.
And also experience.
Yes.
All right. So what makes radio news unique compared to other formats like TV or even online?
Well, radio is just audio. It's just people talking. You don't have pictures, you don't have visuals. So it's very important that you get your message across in the simplest way possible. And it's because you're just speaking. It's very intimate, and you have a emotional connection with the readers. So I think that's what makes it very special with radio news. When you're talking, it's like you just feel that the presenter or the DJ is just talking to you. So I think that's very special.
It's always a one-to-one thing.
Yes, it is.
All right. And how do you decide on stories which are important or relevant for the audience?
News value. That is something we, as an editor, you have to know what story has news value. And news value across, in our sense, being a government national broadcaster, of course we have to highlight government policies, development agenda, all which have impact and benefit for the people, and also breaking news. Let's say there's some big tragedy, you want to put that in. But basically the bottom line is things that benefit our listeners and what we feel that they need to know and what they want to know.
All right. Has there ever been an instance where news has to come in? Like, for instance, we are always at the top of the hour. Have you ever been faced with a situation where you had to come in then and there?
Yes. We call that a breaking news segment. So it's always, let's say there's a death, a prominent person's death or a big tragedy. We need to get that out to the people. So we have to contact TRAXXfm and say, we need to do a breaking news. And because we're all connected, right? So we need
we have phones.
we have to inform TRAXXfm, and we need to get in on air there and then to inform the people of this latest breaking news so that they get the latest information.
And that happens within seconds or even minutes at times.
Yes. The story, you get the flash, and you need to confirm it first. But in a matter of minutes, you need to, once you've confirmed the accuracy of that story, you need to break it out on air.
All right. Okay, we're going to take another short break, Karmila, and this is a song that you requested for. Once we come back, there's more to talk about, including the use of digital technology within your workplace itself. And right now, here is your favorite song. I believe second favorite, because the favorite tada. Second favorite song right here on Tracks. Welcome back in black. And yes, Karmila Badri is full on formal today, all black, right? So anyways, we are talking to Karmila Badri, our senior news editor at the English Radio News section. She has joined us to talk about her journey to success. And right now, let's talk about digital technology. I mean, every workplace has evolved over the years.
Yes.
How has yours evolved with digital technology in terms of production as well as delivering radio news?
Of course, we RTM is exploring new digital technology, radio news as well, especially AI. You know, we can't avoid all this new technology. You have to adapt and adopt. If not, you'll be left behind. So for radio news, we're not full on into AI, of course, but sometimes to assist us in translation, some editors use AI. So, but still, even when we use that, we don't rely on that solely. You know, we take that as a guide.
Just as a tool.
Yes, as a tool and to help us, and we make it our own. Probably, you know, we're still exploring which, I guess, AI tool will suit us best. Maybe sometime next year we will, when we finalize something, we'll see more of that in our radio news bulletins. It'll be exciting to see how we incorporate that into our news bulletins. And also, we also have news podcasts now, especially our 1 and 5 p.m. news. If you miss it live on air, you can catch it on our news podcast, which is on MyClick. You can catch MyClick anywhere, anytime.
Anywhere,
anytime. So you go to MyClick and you go to our podcast section and go to Berita RTM. And there's a whole selection of Malay, English, Tamil, Mandarin news for the 1 and 5 p.m. So whenever you miss any of those bulletins, you can go online.
absolutely.
So that's how, at the moment, we are adopting and adapting to new technologies for our radio news production.
I mean, informally we have adopted it. Formally, we haven't gotten the SOP yet.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so this is a question that I think that's very important for our prospective news readers in the future, especially those of you listening. If you want to become a news reader, then Karmila can tell you how. Because, Karmila, what skills or traits do you think are essential for someone to excel as a radio news editor?
Well, as a radio news editor, you're responsible for ensuring the quality, accuracy, and the relevance of news content. So that's your main task. So in order to carry out this task, one important skill, you should have a strong skill in writing, because as an editor, sometimes you have to rewrite content to suit your news broadcast.
And your timing.
Yes, and timing. That's also one thing. Time management, very, very important, because our news goes on every hour on the hour from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. So you have to be very good with managing your time. Also, your grasp of the English language is very, very important, because we're English news.
Yes.
And also BM, your Bahasa Melayu skills, because we need to translate things from BM to English, because sometimes the story has not come out yet in English, so we need to translate that.
Yeah.
So your language skills is very, very important.
That's very important during the budget.
Yes, you know, because because as he speaks, you know, you have to you have to write it down in English.
And TRAXX borrows it from you guys as well.
Also important is communication and collaborative skills, because you work as a team.
Yeah.
And you know, you need to communicate with each other. You need to communicate with your news presenter. You need to communicate with the news station, radio station. You need to communicate with your bosses. So it's very important to have very good communication skills and be able to work with everybody. No matter how you feel about that person personally, when it comes to work, you have to put that aside, and the work comes first. So you must be able to communicate and collaborate with each other. And also another thing is good critical thinking skills, because you need to evaluate the information that comes in. You know, so you need to know, is this important? Is this relevant? Do I put this in now, or do I put this in later? So you have to be able to evaluate all that. Also, technical knowledge of the systems. You know, so sometimes the system crashes. What do you do?
What's your backup?
Yeah, what's your backup? And what steps should be taken? So you need to have all those things. And also, I guess that ties into problem-solving skills.
Right, so a whole set of skills.
Yes.
And so can I apply?
Of course. Come work with us at RTM Radio News.
Okay.
Yes.
So I can lah.
You can come and
See if I can get the job lah.
submit your application. come for an interview, go through all the processes, and we will be happy to accept you if you check all the boxes.
All right. So see, even radio announcers who've been working as 7 years don't got free pass on. Need to go through appointment.
It's a very stringent process.
It is.
Because it's all about quality. You know, we want to give the best to our listeners.
I mean, you guys did get 2 awards recently.
Yes,
so
we
yeah.
did.
So what an interesting time speaking to you, because, you know, we never get the chance to speak to news readers. I mean, we get to banter. We just talk normal stuff. Like if Peter's coming up at noon today, there's going to be something there.
He will be.
He is?
Yes.
So Uncle Peter's coming up at 12. If you're listening,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a fun time.
Stand by.
Yeah, Karmila behind the scenes told me you're the best. No. Actually, no. Well, actually, you know what? So before we let you go, Karmila, your words of wisdom for our listeners.
Okay, for our listeners and probably people out there who are interested in coming into a career in editorial and news presenting, read a lot.
Yes.
You know, read a lot. It doesn't matter what you read, a novel, read a fiction, non-fiction, read the news, so that you are constantly improving your language. And never say no, because don't be afraid to try new things. Because if I had said no to my boss 6-7 years ago about reading the news, I would not have that skill now to present the news. So always be brave and don't turn down opportunities, because you never know where it will lead you. And don't be afraid to ask questions, because in this line of work, you always have to ask questions. Always, because you need that clarification. And another thing which is very important, which I learned over the years, always be open to constructive criticism and feedback. Because I feel maybe initially in the beginning years when I started, I would feel, let's say, you kata terasa lah sikit, you know, if somebody points out something. But in the long run, it helps you grow as a person and in your career, and it helps you identify what weaknesses you have, and it improves you personally and professionally. And also be adaptable, you know, because you don't know what situation you'll be in. So be ready to be adaptable and seize whatever opportunity that comes your way.
All right. Thank you so much, Karmila. And now we have to let you go because you have to go edit news today.
Yes, I do.
Yes, we have to let you go because she has to go edit news for today. And with that, thank you so much. We hope to have you here again soon.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks so much. And that is Journey to Success with Karmila Badri on W Talk today.